Abbeville, South Carolina, speaking with Erica McCier at her restaurant, Indigenous Underground. What a very different name.
Thank you.
Let's start with how that happened.
Well, the name Indigenous Underground, let me kind of go backwards on that and tell you where the underground came from. When I took out the lease on this building, it was 2019. And a few months later, we had the COVID shutdown. So what I like to say is once the world opened back up, people wanted to get out and they wanted to do some things. So I went to the city of Abbeville and said, well, hey, can I host events at this building? Since I can't have a restaurant right now, can I host some private events? And they gave me the go-ahead to do that. So what I did, I contacted some of my former clients.
Yes.
Because I had done a lot of personal chef and catering in the past. So I contacted them. I sent out an invitation saying like, hey, would you like to come to a private dining experience? An underground dining experience in a secret, non-disclosed location.
Wow.
So that's where the underground came from. The indigenous came from just my culture, my cultural background. It's just, we have a mix of so many cultures in us. And my cultures are predominantly Native American and, of course, African.
Yes.
And so I take the foods that my ancestors presented to us, and I put them together in my food and just kind of give them a little modern twist.
Yes, they certainly do have that.
Thank you.
And then, but you actually started out as a visual artist, an art teacher here, and then I think you suffered a very grave illness, and that kind of led to your learning how to cook?
Yes. So I taught visual arts here in Abbeville County School District for 10 years. During my 10th year of teaching, I developed kidney disease. Well, I went through a life-changing moment, during those times, and actually went through a near-death experience. I was on life support for 4 months, and after that, I had to, go through rehabilitation. I ended up on in-center hemodialysis. And while I was doing dialysis, I was just so bored with life. I wanted something to do. I wanted to find something that could fill that void. So I began watching Food Network and I just started gravitating towards these shows on Food Network, thinking that I think that I can do that. So I pulled out my phone one day and I just Googled culinary schools near me. and Greenville Tech popped up. And I said, well, I'm going to go visit, the campus, and let's just see if, let's just kill some time until I get my kidney transplant, then I could go back into teaching. So I started going to Greenville Tech 2 days a week, doing dialysis 3 days a week. So what turned into a hobby? What was supposed to be a hobby? I put it like that. What was supposed to be a hobby turned into a career.
A passion.
A passion,
yes.
I think. Yes. I always tell people that I think that this was just my destiny. And me going through that near-death experience
made you reevaluate your life.
Yes, it did. I mean, I always tell people it was so necessary for me to go through that phase in life to get to where I am now.
And I believe that you even came back here and taught culinary arts a little bit, and some of your students have followed you and are here today helping you.
Yes, I did. I took a job teaching at the Abbeville County Career Center. I taught there for 4 years, taught culinary arts. And at the time, that's when, I also took out the lease on this building. So I'm teaching at the time. I'm doing catering, and you name it, I did it to try to build some revenue to build this place.
Yeah.
My sous chef, who is Graham, you guys met him. Graham was actually one of my culinary students. very bright young man, and I thought that he was gonna, end up going to culinary school. And he came to me one day. He said, "Well, I'm gonna be honest. I really don't want to go to culinary school." And I say, "You sure? Cause
You've got a talent for it.
yes." He said, "Well, you can teach me everything I need to know."
Oh.
He said, "If you would have me, I want to come work for you." So Graham runs that kitchen for
That's
me.
wonderful.
He
And
does.
then you were honored to be one of the South Carolina chef ambassadors under the
Yes.
agriculture department. And we think of South Carolina as a tourist destination, but a large part of that is our cuisine
Yes.
and all, as you said, the different cultures that are present in our cuisine, and then how
Exactly.
they're tweaked locally, and how
Mhm.
you've managed to do that here in
Yes.
this wonderful space.
It is something about some good old Southern cooking. It is.
And before we speak about the food, when I come in, it says that this is a space for food, music, and culture.
Yes.
And when I looked around, you have very interesting art. You have beautiful lampshades painted by friends. It's just a tremendous sense of community when you come in here. I think that's one of the things that makes this special. It is a sense of community here in the little town of Abbeville and surrounding.
Community means a lot to me, because when I was going through that era of when I was ill, this town really did come together. And that's when I learned how to really appreciate being in a small town, where they say, "Oh, well, I live in a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Why do you want to live in a place like that?" It's like you have this big, huge, extended family who looks out for you, who looks out for your children. And even now, having this restaurant, it's the same way. They really look out for you.
Well, you've looked out after us, because I think we have all kinds of wonderful treats. And so let's talk about some of the things that do reflect your grasp of where you're from and the cultures that have influenced you. So,
Okay, so first of all, we have gumbo. And unlike the traditional Louisiana style gumbo,
well, we're South Carolina.
that's right. So ours is not just a seafood gumbo or chicken gumbo. Ours is a black eyed pea gumbo. And instead of us having that rich, hearty, dark roux taste, ours is more of a tomato taste. It has those tomatoey flavors. So it's kind of funny, because you could tell when I get customers that are from Louisiana, it's like they want to test me. So they'll be like, "Okay, how do you know how to cook gumbo like this? And are you from Louisiana?" I've had so many people say, "Are you from Louisiana? Are you from the islands?" I'm like, "No, I was born and raised right here in Abbeville."
But y'all do make an effort, and about 70% of the ingredients in your food are local. And so local seafood, South Carolina seafood, is
Yes.
one of the things that you see in this black eyed pea gumbo. We've got some
Right.
great shrimp.
Right. It's all 70% of our inventory is from South Carolina certified farmers. Of that 70%, at least 50% is from farmers right here in Abbeville County.
Isn't that just amazing?
It is. And I've built a wonderful relationship with those farmers.
Well, and you think about it, the freshness is just so, you couldn't begin to reproduce that.
Right.
And then some people are traditional, and they want some kind of hamburger. So this is a fancy hamburger. Tell me what we got here.
That is our bacon pimento cheese burger. And of course, the pimento cheese is made in-house.
Yes, I'm sure.
And it's sort of like a little, what we call a sweet heat pimento cheese. So it has a little bit of sweetness, has a little bit of spice in
A little
there.
kick.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. And also the beef that we use here is from a local ranch in DeWest, South Carolina, called Happy Hollow Ranch.
Come on.
Yes.
Local beef.
Mhm.
That's pretty remarkable. Y'all
Thank
really
you.
do try to eat fresh, eat local.
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
you do. And then, so here is something a little unusual.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. It's a beautiful dish.
That is our gator and grits. So of course that is a deep fried alligator tail meat.
Okay. The best part of the alligator.
Yes, and it comes with a cream crawfish sauce.
Ooh.
And it sits on top of a bed of Atkins Millings Company grits. And Atkins Millings is out of Honeypath, South Carolina.
Ah, again, always using, whenever you can, South Carolina providers.
Yes.
I just think that is so much fun. And so are people a little nervous about trying gators sometimes, or?
They are. I think it's it's just that thing of thinking about eating a reptile. But once they try it, they love it.
And then over here we have something that is called a soul roll, and I don't know quite what all that means.
Okay, well, first of all, when customers come in
Yes.
and they look at the menu and it says soul rolls, they think that is some type of bread.
Well, a roll, sure. Yeah.
Exactly. But when it comes out to the table, it's actually a spring roll with seasoned collard greens and black-eyed peas. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to try this. I want you to try the soul rolls.
And the collard greens are from?
The collard greens are from WP Raw.
Oh, okay.
And the black-eyed peas are from Old Time Bean Company.
Golly, again, just all the things that make South Carolina so wonderful.
Right.
Farmers.
Look, we're going to take this. We're going to grab this with our hands.
Yeah,
Okay?
let's do that.
I'm going to let you grab that end.
Okay.
So you see that inside?
Okay, I was.
And now this is
yeah. Oh, okay.
This is our house-made sweet chili sauce.
Oh.
See those collard greens in there?
Collard greens and black-eyed peas, deep fried in a spring roll.
Yes.
Now that's a real amalgamation of cultures.
So tell me how you like it.
I think South Carolina is very fortunate to have you represent us as a chef ambassador with with your hospitality and talents and wonderful sense of community, because that's what South Carolina's all about. It's about our friends and neighbors and being tight together and supporting each other. Thank you for what you're doing here in Abbeville.
And thank you so much for having me on your show today.